Welcome back to Beyond the Trailers look at the most anticipated films of 2014. I've got 3 top 10 lists for you: original films, sequels, and wildcards. Yes, while these days Hollywood is mostly about sure bets, it's nice to see that they're still taking some risks. This wildcard list is made up of films that might not currently be on your radar, but could end up being some of 2014's most memorable. Number 10 is that awkward moment. What's noteworthy about a comedy released in January, a month that's infamous for being a Hollywood dumping ground? The cast! Michael B. Jordan and Miles Teller are 2 of Hollywood's hottest young talents, while Zac Efron hopes to revamp his image by turning to comedy a la Mark Wahlberg and Robert De Niro. Plus, this is a romantic comedy for guys. The combination of raunchy humor and a storyline where guys decide they want to commit to their girlfriends could definitely make this a surprise hit. Now, while Angelina Jolie's return to the silver screen, Maleficent, was number 3 on my list of top 10 originals for 2014, her return to behind the camera is less of a sure thing. While her directorial debut in The Land of Blood and Honey certainly got a lot of attention, it only got a single Golden Globe nomination for Best Foreign Language Film. The Globes are big fans of Jolie's, often to their own detriment, and couldn't even earn $500,000 at the box office. But Unbroken is definitely a higher profile project, Olympian Lou Zamperini's survival story during World War II, where, after crash landing, found himself in a Japanese prisoner of war camp. The Coen brothers handled the latest rewrite, and their involvement should add some legitimacy to Jolie's artistry. Number 8 is Sabotage, featuring the unlikely team-up of Training Day's David Ayer and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Loosely based on an Agatha Christie novel from the 1930s, this is an action mystery. Schwarzenegger and his contemporaries have had a rough time staging comebacks, but the addition of Ayer and an eclectic cast might do the trick here. Not to mention that is one captivating hairstyle. Hey, if Schwarzenegger doesn't have the chops to change up his acting, why not his hair? Number 7 is also an ensemble film, but it's more noteworthy for being a remake of a very popular Belgian film. Loft has become The Loft, with the same director, Eric Van Looy, and cast member Matthias Schoenaerts. He'll be joined by Carl Urban, James Marsden, and Wentworth Miller, 3 pretty boys who have spent their entire careers trying to prove they're pretty smart, too. Eric Stonestreet rounds out the cast in a drastic departure from his Modern Family gig, as they all play men who share a single apartment for the purpose of meeting their mistresses. When one mistress ends up dead, it's a race to figure out which one of them is the murderer. Sounds good, right? Only problem is this has been in the can since 2011. Number 6 stars another pretty boy hoping to be taken seriously, Joel Kinnaman, in the Robocop remake. His lack of star power is one reason this isn't a guaranteed hit, as well as the complete and utter failure of 2012's similarly updated Total Recall. Plus, why do they have to make the suit black? Not everyone needs to look like Batman, Hollywood. But a second trailer seems to hint that this remake might actually deliver the goods, and it has a supporting cast chock full of audience favorites: Michael Keaton, Samuel L. Jackson, Jackie Earle Haley, Jay Baruchel, and more. Oh man, we've got another pretty boy at number 5, Patrick Wilson in Stretch. These matinee idols are surprising us. Wilson found his groove with low-budget horror films and now looks to move into action comedy with his horror producer Jason Blum. But there are still some horror elements here for good measure, as he plays a chauffeur having a really bad day. Chris Pine and Ed Helms co-star, while the A-Team's Joe Carnahan writes and directs. Blum's hallmark is that he lets his behind-the-camera talent make their dream movie. Only problem is that while sure Carnahan dreamed up The Grey, he also dreamed up Smokin' Aces. Blum's Insidious co-producer Oren Peli is behind number 4 on this list, Paranormal Activity: The Marked Ones. While Latino audiences turn out in a big way for horror films, this will be the first one made specifically for that audience. But with no Latino talent behind the camera, instead Michael Landon's son Christopher graduates from screenwriter to writer-director, will this spin-off be able to connect? At number 3 is another movie that reflects the growing diversity in Hollywood, Jay-Z and Will Smith's remake of Annie. Oscar nominee Quavonzane Wallace stars opposite Oscar winner Jamie Foxx, while Cameron Diaz, who's only given Oscars to other people, plays Miss Hannigan. Jay-Z is writing all new additional songs for the musical. Let's hope they're better received than his work on The Great Gatsby. Number 2 is Hercules The Thracian Wars, where Dwayne Johnson will don the lion skin as the famous demigod. With his work in Fast and Furious and G.I. Joe, you'd think this was a slam dunk, but you'd be wrong. Not only does Brett Ratner direct, and Kellen Lutz's Hercules will get to theaters first in January 2014, but online some fans are furious that the mixed-race Johnson will be playing a Greek hero. Plus, Johnson's box office track record gets a little sketchy when he's not part of a strong ensemble. Finally, the number 1 wildcard of 2014 is Godzilla. What? When the trailer leaked online for like 10 minutes, didn't the internet explode? Sure, but as we've learned by now, internet activity doesn't always mirror box office activity. And with Pacific Rim, also from Legendary Pictures, stumbling at the box office, will just a year be enough of a palate cleanser for audiences? Plus, this is only the second film for UK director Gareth Edwards, and his first time working on a studio blockbuster. And his first film, Monsters, was kind of a District 9 ripoff. The cast is phenomenal, the highlight being Bryan Cranston hot off of Breaking Bad, but also it is kind of hilarious that Japan's Godzilla would return and be greeted by a bunch of gaijin. Oh, I'm sorry, Ken Watanabe will be there as well. This could either be a huge win for Warner Brothers or a colossal failure. And those are the 2014 wildcards. You can check out my picks for top 10 originals and sequels right now.